Good morning, football fans. You're watching and or listening to our first ever podcast of Friday Morning Bulldogs. Thanks for joining us wherever you may be or wherever you may be listening live or later as we step into the world of all things Bulldogs. We've got a great show on tap for you this morning as we chat with players, coaches, and even some fans and students. Oh, let me turn my volume off here. Sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. I've got my own laptop here and watching as we're streaming live. We hope wherever you are, it's been a great start to your morning, and we will be even better once you get your Bulldog fix. We're heading into the Thanksgiving festivities in the next week, and so our last day here at Wagoner Public Schools, and we are excited to bring your first ever broadcast of Friday Morning Bulldogs. So without further ado, let's get to it. Our first guest is none other than Alex Shinnol. He's a senior. He's the son of Aaron and Wagner Middle School teacher Stephanie Shinnol. Alex stepped on the WL field his freshman year and really never stepped off until week 8 this year. And we're not going to dwell a whole lot on that, Alex, but I do have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask you about that. First of all, you can say hi to whoever you want to out there.
Hey, mom and dad. Hey, family. Hey, grandma. Hey, how's it going?
So, like I said, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that injury. It was actually kind of a routine play.
Yeah.
And just how you went down, and was it immediate, or did you know what was going on immediately?
Yeah. Well, I got tackled. I got outside linebacker traced to the ball and hit my leg from the back and I rolled as I got hit because someone was tackling me, safety or something. I kind of just gator rolled myself and I got up and I put pressure on it. I knew something was broke because my foot was kind of dangling, but it's not as bad as an ACL tear or any type of horrible ligament damage. Just a clean break of the fibula, and we'll be walking next week, so
Okay.
we're good to go.
I do remember that game, and you kind of limped off, and we knew something wasn't quite right, and then throughout the game, we didn't see you come back, and then people start talking about leg, and so you must have a really high pain tolerance because we watched you walk off the field with I don't think any assistance. So I guess once you got over there, kind of clicked that something's wrong.
Yeah. Pain started hitting me when I got hurt.
All right, I got you. So what's the hardest part about being on the sidelines and not on the field?
It's really tough because you put so much into it, preparing week to week, and even in the summer, what I've been telling the guys and what Kale's been telling me, and Bryce still has been telling the guys all summer is that we win ball games in the summer, and that's what we have done. And not being a part of it, it really stinks, but I'm still there. I'm still there, and I'm still at practice to support the team. And that's what I want to do. So it hasn't been too bad, preparing this long and then getting taken out like that, it's tough, but I know that I have a bright future ahead of me and that I can't let it eat me alive right now.
Speaking of that future, well, actually, we're going to step back in the past a couple of years ago. When OU first started showing interest in you, how did your focus change, or did?
Right. So OU is one of the first schools to show interest, and they were the first school to offer me. So whenever they start showing interest, I just thought to myself, I got to get a whole lot better. I have the talent. I just right now don't have the skill, don't have the strength, don't have the size, and that's really just I had a good mentality going into it. I need to continue to get better, and I still feel like there's things now that I still need to improve on. So my whole energy just shifted to just being a ball junkie and just wanted to suck it all in. Just wanted to just learn everything that I can before I get there, and then when I get there, it's just I'm gonna learn way more.
So did you notice a change in your focus about not just about skill, not just about strength, but your knowledge of the game? Did you think that were you jumping into it with a way different mindset?
Yeah. So whenever I started showing interest, and then when I got offered there after we won state my sophomore year, and like I said, I just knew that I needed to get a whole lot better, and I just took every day head on and just trying to prepare myself and do something to put myself ahead of somebody else each day, and I feel like that's what we've done as a team as well here at Wagner, and Coach Condit, he does a great, phenomenal job of getting us prepared, and I have such a great high school coach. I think it's really going to help carry on to college.
Okay. So on that note, do you think you'll ever coach football?
Man, I really don't know. I don't know if I coach it, because I've ripped into some people like I've been ripped into. But I don't know. I guess I would. I wouldn't say that I would not coach football. I think that I could. I think that but I don't know.
Maybe stay in the little leagues and not necessarily
Maybe.
big leagues.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe
Coach
high
your
school.
son that comes through.
Maybe coach some high school. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So those of you who've joined us already, if you've got a question for Alex, I've got a couple more until we move on to our next student. But you can type that in the chat room. I'll be able to see that. If you have a question, we can fire at Alex here before we step away. Okay, so what's the most exciting idea looking ahead to being in Norman?
Man, I'm really looking forward to just, seeing how far I can push my body and myself. And, when you get up there, it's just a whole different mindset that you have to be able to play there. And there will be times where, you're hurting, and there will be times where you're in pain, but I'm really looking forward to just seeing how far I can push myself. I'm really looking forward to all the good food that I'll eat, all the things that I'll learn. And outside of football, they're going to teach me a lot of some good things and life skills that I'm really looking forward to.
So you've already been to the field stadium, I should say, several times. Even though Wagoner has one of the most premier 4A venues for football, how does that compare to Memorial Stadium?
Yeah, it's day and night. It's so crazy, and they have a whole lot of science behind it and all types of stuff. So I got my legs hurting right now, and when I get up there, it'll be roughly a time where I'm released, but they'll go reevaluate me completely. They'll put me in a tank and see how I'm walking. They got speed school. They'll have days where you're moving lightweight fast, days you're moving heavyweight fast, and they got all this new types of stuff that I'm really looking forward to, and it's gonna take my game to a whole new level. It's just phenomenal. It's incredible all the things that they have up there. It's insane.
100%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So along the lines, kind of our first question, talk about what you missed being on the sideline. What do you think you'll miss most about playing high school football?
Just being able to cut it loose and play free, and in high school if you have some good technique, you win by alignment, assignment, key reads, and you win at the D line position with get off and with hands and your hand placement. In high school football, you can get away with a little bit of that thing that you have some brute strength, and if you're a big kid, in college you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Your hand placement has to be perfect. You have to have your alignment, assignment, key reads, and that will help you play loose and play free and play fast, because then you won't have to worry about something in the back of your head. So, but it's just a whole lot. It's just a whole lot different in the D2 level as well, NAIA level as well. It's a complete different ball game.
Yeah, really, no matter how small or large the college is, and even if you're at a premier high school program, it's still a level that you're just not used to. So, all right. So before I get to the last surprise question here, I went to our chat room and had some great questions here, but Beth Brown would like to know, and several others, what's going to be your major when you go to OU? Have you already decided, or?
I've been thinking about doing exercise science.
Okay.
A little bit of physiology, because I had a really good science teacher, Miss Ford, this year or these past 3 years, and she taught me a lot. And what Austin does, science, strength conditioning, and what Smitty does, I think that I can learn a lot, and maybe I can do that someday. Maybe I can open a gym or something one day, or do something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So here's our last question. I want you. This is going to be tough. This is probably the toughest one of all.
All right.
So, who would win in a basketball? You, one of your sisters, or your mom?
Oh, me, 100%.
Okay. So, Miss Shield Knight, I hope you're listening to this.
Miss Shield Knight would give me a run for my money, but the other two, they're too weak.
Okay. Gracie, I hope you're watching her. I'll give you that link. You can come back and watch this later. So, and then your oldest sister also played basketball as well, right?
Yes, sir. She played at Tabor. She at Tabor, Kansas.
Okay. Okay.
And Gracie's at Northeastern State right now.
Yes, exactly.
Doing pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Any last thing you want to say to the fans out there?
Sir, I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the support from Wagoner Bulldogs. Thank you, guys.
All right.
I appreciate you.
Al Shield night, everyone.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Our next guest is Kale Humphreys. He is the son of Assistant Superintendent Nick Humphreys and Ellington Counselor Christy Humphreys. Kale's a sophomore, and he leads the student section every Friday night. So, Kale, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
And we've got a lineup of questions for you. Obviously, you're not out on the field anymore, although you did try your hand at football.
2 years, yeah.
Okay, how'd that go?
I mean, it went all right. You know, being at that level, so being a wide receiver, being a skinny kid like me, you don't see the football that much, but it definitely taught me the importance of just like being a team player and like being able to like just contribute whenever you're not the star player, you're not like the guy who's getting the ball, but doing the dirty work. That's important to win football games. I mean, because even just as simple as blocking the cornerback can be the difference between getting like a 5-yard gain or scoring a touchdown.
That's
It's
right.
just those little things.
That's right. So even though you haven't, you're not stepping back on the field as far as a player, your knowledge of football is, you're kind of forced into it, I guess.
Yeah.
With Dad being coach and everything. So we'll come back to that. What role would you say you play on Friday nights?
Man, that's a tough question. I would say just like getting everyone engaged and keeping people in like the game. Because I mean, and just being a pretty good encourager of the team. Because there's a lot of times like one play just doesn't go our way and everyone's just down and about. And it's like, it's the same thing being on the sidelines of any game. It's just you got to forget it and you got to keep people hyped and keep people going because it's a part of like the environment. You see people go into like LSU Stadium, Alabama, Georgia, those like SEC or even like Michigan or Penn State stadiums. There's an atmosphere there that's just completely different, and that's what one day I hope that Wagner like people will call it the dub. You don't want to go play in the dub.
Okay.
You know the fans are great. Miscommunications like you can't go. That's the place people are scared of. Like they look at their schedule, they're like at Wagner, like they just like they don't even want to think about it. They chalk that up as a loss already.
I love that attitude about that because a lot of times when you talk about high school stadiums, you talk about home field advantage and it's going to be loud and everything, but to take that up to the next level where people are really thinking about, oh man, we have to go to Wagner this year.
It's like going to Grove.
Okay, how about is there any difference from last year to this year when it comes to the student section? Last year you were a freshman, just kind of getting the feel of it. I think Zach Daly was probably a pretty good mentor of the student section and the ones that have come before him. Have you noticed that there's a difference between last year and this year for you individually?
Yeah, and first I feel like I'm pretty like blessed to say to be able to even have the opportunity that I did last year. Like Zach and Steve Pup just giving me the opportunity to even like paint my chest with just a little thing, but being able to be up front because usually they're like sophomores, underclassmen get back, and then I mean like except for you could say like that. That was just like I'm blessed for that and have that opportunity. And a lot of things is now people seem to like they cut like I have a lot of people who come to me and ask me about chance and stuff, but it's just like a different like thing. It's like people asking me now, and it's like that. It's almost like another, not like a huge responsibility, but it's just something that like people are like, okay, they're rallying behind like their leader almost. Which I mean, I take with a like I enjoy being a leader. I won't lie, but I couldn't do it without like a lot of those ag kids. Like say Addison Kennedy, like Happy Davis, Sophie Lancaster, and like Brian Shipman, like a bunch of them. All of them. I can't even name all of them. They're maybe the loudest people there. They're always, no matter what, they're going. And I couldn't do anything I'm doing without crowding. Like, that's the main thing about student section. And this is another part I find different this year is that, like, you can be as loud as you want as an individual, but if your men aren't willing to follow you, what's going to happen? Nothing's going to get done. You're just going to be the loud idiot. And people are willing to just, like, be louder, and even louder than me, and being able to push it. That's just like a big thing I see this year. People are more willing to push themselves out of their comfort zone and really just be loud and just get that environment to where it needs to be.
You kind of went into the third question. Although we need to pause a little bit because there's a certain grandma that's watching right now, and she said that sure is a handsome kid up there. So Grandma Anita, you can say hello.
Thank you, Mimi.
So thanks, Mimi, for that shout out for Kale. All right, so if you could say anything to the opposing team, what would it be? Any team, whether it's the Clinton Red Tornadoes later on tonight, or any team that we played in the past, or any team that we may play in the future. What's one or two things that you want them to know about coming to the Dove?
It's gonna be a hard game. You're not gonna just go out there and just absolutely smack us. No, you're gonna the next day and the day after, you're gonna feel the pain that we left. And I mean, you're not winning that game. You're not coming to our stadium and winning. That's for any team, and even to Clinton. I'll just say this to Clinton right now. You had a great run, a lot of state championships, but I mean, your last one was in 21. That might be your last for a while. Like your time done. I mean, it's Wagner's time now. We're gonna catch up to you, and we're gonna surpass you. That's what I had.
They definitely have a history.
Yeah,
Yes,
17.
absolutely. So Red Tornadoes coming to town. Actually, they may be on their way just about right now.
Maybe, yeah.
Kick off at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll talk more about that as Coach Condit is on his way to finish out our interview. So, all right, Kale. Last question for you.
All right.
So let me give a little background on this. Mom Christy used to be cheerleader for Wagoner High School, right? Obviously, Dad Nick was a longtime coach here of the Wagoner Bulldogs. And Abby right now is cheering for the Oklahoma Baptist University Bison. So, being one of the leaders of the student section, who has the ability to get the crowd hyped the most out of your family?
I mean, I'd have to say me.
Okay.
I mean, Abby, of course, does it in her own way, but I'm the most out there, willing to make myself look the dumbest.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'd have to say me. I mean, Dad's more. Think about Mom. Mom will be great. She'll just be like, "Let's go, guys. Let's go." But then Abby's just doing her cheer thing. Dad's not. That's not Dad's thing. Dad's more just like sit there and just nod. We do something good. I'm the one who actually go out there and yell and just get people going.
Okay. So if you guys have any questions, well, I've got one already, but we're going to move on to Kale Charbonneau next. But how about Beth? Let's see. How about let's see. See George Skull. Let's see what he has to say. Well, he's wanting to know about Alex's football future. Although maybe he's talking about your football future, Kale. Is there a possible future in mind of having something to do if you decide to go on to college, having something to do with the football team?
That would be. I have a lot of things I'd like to do, but like if I never found myself being a coach one day, even little league or something like that, I'd enjoy it. But even being like a talk show host, being able to talk about football, that'd be a dream of mine. Being able to just have my own show, or even just be a part of a show, and be able to just discuss sports 24/7. That'd be a good goal of mine.
I could absolutely see you doing that for sure. So, Kale Humphreys, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming, Kale. All right, our next player is Kale Charbonneau. We appreciate all these guys that have volunteered. Well, sort of volunteered. I think they were told by their parents, "You're going to do this." But we appreciate them coming on our first ever podcast of Friday Morning Bulldogs. But Kale is a senior, and he is the son of Miko Charbonneau, who is a high school teacher and football coach, and Randy Charbonneau, who is a teacher at Ellington. Both of them Wagner grads, as was Kale Humphreys, both of his parents. So, Kale, thanks for coming on with us.
Sure.
And not to be confused with your previous classmate there. So, what's the hardest part about being a quarterback?
I would just say probably the mental side of things more than like the physical side. Just knowing your whole offense and the reads you got to make. Like pre-snap, you have reads, and then as the ball snaps, you got to make more reads, and then you got to make your mind up fast and go somewhere with the ball.
Okay. So, what? Let me follow that up with if there is a turnover, whether I know you don't fumble very often, and last year was a little more picks than what you wanted to throw, and been able to get that down as well. So when that does happen,
Uh-huh.
what do you tell yourself?
I try to shake it off, but I get onto myself a lot when I do that because it's a big thing turning over the ball. It creates momentum for the other team. So I try to shake it off, but I'm pretty hard on myself too.
Do you find yourself after a turnover when you get back out on the field, like I got to make up for it, or do
Yeah.
you just say, you know what, we just got to do business?
I for sure try to make up for it. I normally throw an interception on deep, and then I go back on defense. I'm trying to hit somebody pretty hard.
Okay. All right. All right. Speaking of defense, that's a great segue into our next question. If you had a choice, offense or defense?
It's hard. It's hard. I'd probably say defense. Probably just because it's one of the more. I like the physical part of the game. I can be more physical being a linebacker than quarterback.
Mhm.
Even though I run it a little bit, it's just fun to tackle people and get them to the ground and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. So, uh, how about, yeah, obviously you've grown up watching Bulldog games all your life. At what point did you decide that, hey, I want to be a quarterback for Wagoner Bulldogs?
I always thought it was cool watching Malcolm. He was probably one of my biggest role models growing up. But I started playing quarterback in seventh grade. That's when I kind of knew like our group was pretty good. And, it would be cool to go win a state championship with those guys, and it really made me set my mind to it.
Okay. So seventh grade, you were what'd you play before
Running back.
Okay, you're running back.
Yeah.
So stepped in the quarterback role of seventh grade, and was it immediately or towards the end of the season, midway?
It was immediately.
Okay.
We kind of had a position battle, and then I was always quarterback from there.
Okay. All right. So many people talk about how wrestling has shaped them in football.
Yeah, I'd say
Do you agree? Do you agree with that, man?
for sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Wrestlers, they know how to use their body well, and just once they get a hold of somebody, wrestlers find a way to get people down. Normally, even if it's like a double leg, single leg, basically same thing, tackling somebody. And I think wrestling also helps just like with your balance as a as a runner, just helps you stay on balance and stay up when they're trying to tackle you.
Mm-hmm. So I may be overstating this, but I don't feel like that has been a topic of discussion until you mentioned Malcolm Rodriguez came through, and then all of a sudden everybody's talking about wrestling and how it has helped. And maybe it happened before that, but in my mind, it seemed like that was kind of the start of this conversation. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd say Malcolm probably started that kind of thing. When Malcolm wrestled, he just run right through people just like he would tackle in football. So he really kind of shows exactly what he does in wrestling and in football.
I didn't wrestle growing up, and I had a couple friends that did. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do know that they just constantly talk about your base.
Yeah,
and it translates very well in football.
You gotta have a wide base kind of athletic position. It really helps you in football to get to places as fast as you can.
Because just like you have leverage in wrestling, leverage works really well in football as well.
That's one of the main parts about wrestling. It just helps you understand like about leverage a little bit more. Like you might not realize you're doing it, but just wrestling like practice, it just helps you there in football.
All right. So on that note, who would win a wrestling match? Both you got an older brother Caden. Your dad was a very decorated Wagoner Bulldog wrestler. Who in a wrestling match? You're a very decorated Bulldog wrestler. If we're out in a wrestling match and we got everybody in their prime, and even mom, I don't know. I've heard mom's pretty tough as well. So who's gonna come out on top on a wrestling match?
I'd probably say dad. Just because how big he was when he was in college. He's heavyweight, like 240, 250. But Caden's pretty good too. You know, he wrestled in college. That college wrestling, it's hard to wrestle in college guys.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole new level.
They really got some experience on you.
So if you have a question for Kale and in his future, be sure to type that in our chat room as we're fixing to let him go. And I think we're still waiting on Coach Condit. Hopefully he'll be able to make it. But is there anything, Kale and Alex, you guys go ahead and squeeze on in here, and we'll get everybody in a good shot here. But is there anything else, Kale? We'll start with you as far as let's talk about tonight. Haven't mentioned a whole lot about tonight, but we'll get everybody in here. I think we squeeze everybody in here. But what's how do you stay focused for tonight? I mean, obviously we're 11-0 at this point, and we've had a lot of success and been blowing teams out. How do you stay focused for tonight?
Yeah, our focus, like at the end of the season, has just been getting back to the state finals game, and it's just been a big focus to make ourselves better as a team. Like we weren't going against the best opponents at the end of the season, but we're really trying to build up to make a title run. And that's going to be our goal tonight, to run through them and just have our mind focused on the state title. But you also got to take it one game at a time.
Mm-hmm. So, Kale Humphreys, if you got a big secret for tonight, I don't want you to reveal it, but are we going to see some things out in the stands and getting kids hyped and students hyped? You got some things in mind?
Yeah, we got some stuff. I mean, we'll be brainstorming even throughout there. A lot of the stuff we do is just we just see it on the spot. Like a lot of the chants I come up with, it's like I see something happen. I'm like, hey, we got to get that going. It's better than just on the. I mean, everyone's heard the what's it called, like the which way that way. You can't do that, but I mean, you got to get in your bag a little bit and find some creative stuff to go with.
Okay. Kale, we had a couple of questions there. Same with Alex. Of course, we knew where he was going to school, and they were wanting about his major. What's your plans for beyond high school?
I mean, I want to go play college football somewhere. I don't know where yet. I got 2 offers, 2 Division II schools, but that's the plan. Just go play football and get my education.
Okay. All right. So, Alex, what do you think? You got anything in store for the team tonight? You got a pregame speech, anything like that?
No, I'm confident the boys will go out there and take care of business tonight. You know, that's what they should do.
All right.
They will. Yeah. They're ready to go.
Good. Got a lot of classrooms that are watching right now, guys. Whether it's high school, Ellington, Maple Park, here at the middle school. So, and of course, individuals that have come. A lot of good lucks tonight, and they're going to be either there in person or be watching Friday Night Bulldogs.
Yep.
I think all of you probably have heard a little bit, or at least your family members. I know you've got a lot in Tennessee that log on every Friday night and go Kale. And I know, Alex, you've had some family members as well watching you play. And did you ever think that of course, you guys always grew up with technology, but even with that being said, did you ever think that people across the world would be watching Wagoner Bulldog football?
When I got here, I thought yes, because it was just big time football tradition. So I'm not surprised.
Okay,
I'm not real surprised.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. What about you, Cal?
If I could if I just say high school football, like when you think of Friday Night Lights, I mean Texas high school football on that level. I mean, you got to put Wagner right up there. There's people who go watch that. I mean, like you got people when you got high recruits. I mean, we have our high recruits, and you have people going and watching. I mean, one day we will be up there. Yeah. People will be seeing that. There will be people from not even all across America, just all across the world. You even say, just like who will be watching and be like, "Wow, this team's special." Because I mean, we have something special down here in Wagner.
Well, as we wrap up here, Kale, so the game ball is going to be delivered tonight.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's a secret or not. I'll just say it's getting delivered tonight. And we're looking forward to that. And so, what about that very first time after what's the most nervous time Is it right when you get ready to run out on the field? With after you run out on the field, and you're one, okay, hey, it's about time for us to get on for the kickoff. I mean, where's the most apprehensive time that you think?
I would probably say just running out, kind of. Probably like right before the first snap on offense or defense. I would say because I'd say once the game actually starts, the nerves are all gone. So
Okay.
right before the game starts, right before the first snap.
All right. All right, so I'm gonna let these guys go. They probably don't want to go back to class, but they have to go back to class, and we want to talk a little bit more as we wait for Coach Condit. Hopefully, he'll be able to make it. But guys, appreciate you guys being a part of the first ever Friday Morning Bulldogs podcast, and it looks like it's gone really well with the classrooms and the individuals that are logging on watching. So thanks for coming, guys. All right, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right. So just a couple of things before we log off here and on our first inaugural podcast for Friday Morning Bulldogs. And again, we hope Coach Condit will be able to make it here. But I want to talk about our sponsors of Friday Night Bulldogs and really sponsors of Wagoner Athletics as well. And I know we talk about Friday Night Bulldogs, but we have a ton of people that support Wagoner Athletics every time they step out on the court, field, the mat, wherever that might be, the hardwood, the gridiron, whatever venue it is. And we appreciate everyone that logs on and supports either through the internet or watching at home or wherever you may be, or those that come to the games, or maybe you don't do either, but you just know that you like to invest in students of Wagoner, and we appreciate everyone that has done that, not just this year, but all the years that Wagoner Public Schools has been around. And so I know this is my 26th year here, and the support just continues to come. And when the supporters of maybe have kids or grandkids, even once they graduate, they still support. We have new supporters coming in, and we want to thank everyone that has done that over the years and has done that this year. But our corporate sponsors of Friday Night Bulldogs are Advanced Orthopedics, Cherokee Personnel, Prestige Plumbing, Good Neighbor Realty, Row Insurance, Richard Gray, Kevin Grover GMC, Moore Lancaster Agency, Bank First, Apex Tiles and Closing, and Beth Johnson of Good Neighbor Realty are our corporate sponsors. Our elite sponsors are Shipman Funeral Home, Armstrong Bank, Aspire Health, Our Best Bank, Blue Sky Bank, Smoking Sisters on Duty, Meats and More, Wagner County Abstract, Al Drug, Bonnie's Flowers, and Smoking Sisters on Main. And I don't know if you guys were able to hear that little notification, but Coach Condit just texted me and said he's on his way. So we're going to have a few questions for him. And looks like he's had a pretty busy morning, as I figured he probably did. But and also Mallet Funeral Home and Crematory are our sponsors. Again, we thank every one of them for doing that this year and all of the issues that we had early on, and we were able to work those things out, even going back to the softball season and the great season that they had. Appreciate Garrett Haddock. He's you can't see him, but he's right in front of me behind the camera and keeping up with the computer and things, and as he has done all year long. John Page not with us today. He will probably be back when we. This might be a weekly thing. Who knows? And we appreciate you guys supporting it this morning. John is gone today. His son has his, I believe it's the last home game. He's a roughneck for the OU Sooners, and this is his last home game festivities into tomorrow's OU Alabama game. So John and his wife Carrie wanted to be with him as that's a part of the chapter of his life that he is not necessarily looking forward to closing, but he's enjoyed his time there. So again, thank you for staying with us, and Coach Condit will be here in just a little bit. If you want to shout out something here in the chat room that you may want to talk about before Coach Condit gets here. I know we don't want to keep you too long, but he'll be here in just a minute. Carter Justice, hey, thanks for logging on. You're the Seedor Skull. Lucas McNack saying good luck. And again, thank you for Christy. I just now saw your comment. Looks like that we're going to have a little bit more serious discussion at the Humphreys house tonight about that. Who can get the crowd hyped up more? So, Michael Barnett want to know what positions the players play. Alex was the defensive end and high end on offense. And then, of course, Kale Shinnol is playing safety, linebacker, and is the quarterback. Kale Humphreys is our hype man, and he may be the official hype man of Wagoner Public Schools, taking Zach Daly's place last year or the year before. So, who is favored tonight, Beth? I see that, and I'm assuming I haven't looked at the official line, but I'm assuming the Bulldogs are, and but I will get that as soon as Coach Condit knows. I'm pretty sure he has looked at that, and that's probably a motivation for him. And I'm assuming also that the Red Tornadoes, Clinton, it's about a 4-hour trip out west on I-40. They probably are on their way as we speak and want to get here plenty of time to be able to shake the legs out and walk the field and all the things that they do for pregame. And we hope that there's going to be a great turnout tonight. Miss T, thanks for logging on. Our humanities class is watching. Gordon Corbett saying good luck to the Bulldogs. And you guys be sure to spread the word. Again, kickoff will be at 7 o'clock. And the game ball is being delivered. And again, I'll just keep it at that. Game ball is being delivered. And we're looking forward to that. And kickoff will be at 7 o'clock. We've got a lot of things that we could talk about as far as the activities that have gone on up to this point as we go into the Thanksgiving break. The bands, I know, scored really well in their last competition, I believe it was the top 10. I think it was in the top 5. And they were really pleased with their placement there. Obviously, the softball team, basketball and wrestling getting cranked up here in the first couple of games of the season. A lot of those will come on in here, Coach. A lot of those will be. Sometimes those will be rescheduled as we have a lot of our players that are either cheering or on the football team, and obviously the season is still going on. So those first few games might be without some of those players, and we have canceled those or rescheduled those in the past. So our final guest is Coach Dale Condit. He is a senior and the athletic director and head coach of the Wagoner Bulldogs. He and his wife Sherry have 3 kids. Austin, who teaches at the high school. Colin, who is a senior at OU.
He tells me he's a senior. So Blaine is graduating in May.
Okay, all right. So we're going to go with that. He's a senior at OU, and then Kendra, who is a senior here at Wagoner High School. Coach, thanks for coming on. And I know you've got a busy morning, so we'll get right to it. How do you keep your team motivated throughout the season? Maybe not even just this season. As the Wagoner Bulldogs in your 20th season here in Wagoner have tasted a lot of success over the years. Obviously, right now we're sitting at 11-0. How do you keep the team motivated from week to week?
Well, it's a great question because you get to the point where people think that it's easy, and it's. I think the minute you start doing that is the minute you'll start sliding back. But I think there's been a lot of consistency with how we go about the routine of preparing for a season, preparing for games. I think we've done a great job developing players throughout our off season, and a guy that may just be a very average player in 7th and 8th grade, which you used to coach that level with us, and you see some of them that they're a senior in high school now. You say, I can't believe that's the same kid out here just trying to get his pads in the right spot on his pants. So, and I think developing an atmosphere and an environment that kids want to be a part of, I think the community wants to be a part of. has been important, and I think our players sense that it's important to our community and to our school. It's something to be proud of. And of course, we're proud of our accomplishments, and love to see the success they have on the field. And then, of course, even better than that's when they go on and you see some of them that maybe football kind of kept them hanging in there for a little while, and they may barely graduate high school, and the next thing you know, they've gone to college and got a degree, or gone out and got a trade and a great job. So, but yeah, the consistency is something I know I'm very proud of. I know our coaches are very proud of. And we talked about winning 20 straight years of winning a playoff game, 20 straight seasons, and it's trust me, it's a it's an accomplishment I can't even wrap my head around, really, and probably never will, because it's never been done before, and probably when we finish, whenever that ends here, someday it will. Probably won't be done again. It's tough to do. So there's been a lot of games along the way that just could have gone either way. There's the one year we could have been kept out of the playoffs, and we're at Hilldale, and they decided to run one last play. Could have taken the knee, and Jeremy Applegate punches the ball out. Jimmy Carter gets on it. We go down and score at the end and win. Ended up winning the next week. The playoff game.
I remember that very well.
And you know who the defensive coordinator at Hilldale was? Travis Bryant.
There you go.
So,
Travis Bryant, one of our assistant coaches here, a high school teacher, and that's probably a night that he would like to forget.
He said you can't even imagine how miserable that was, and we've lost some close ones, and you take it hard.
That would have been 2009, and the reason I remember that is that was the inaugural season for Friday Night Bulldogs.
Oh, is that right?
So we were there and had that game on there, and Taylor Bosco was the quarterback, and
that we were so done. It was to the point where we were so done. Our offensive coaches were coming out of the press box, and actually one of Jeff Williams was calling plays. He had to jump the fence and hurry up and come down the sideline and call a play and got a fumble, because we assumed they were going to take the game. Yeah, we beat Hilldale a couple of years ago when Alex Shildon blocked a punt. We beat them first round of playoffs. So there's been some close calls.
So that gives us a good lead into our next question, that maybe those behind the scenes things that that no one really knows about unless you were actually there. But this is a fastball. This is a pretty good haymaker I'm going to swing at you here. What was the most intense confrontation you've had in the locker room?
Oh, there's probably some of them I can't talk about. Well, I'll tell you, one of them involved my two boys. When we went down to Broken Bow in 2008, I believe, 2008. They were little guys, and they rode the bus with us. We got beat right at the end of that game. We should have won. We had the game won. They blocked the punt, ran it in. Next thing you know, we get beat. It's not a fun drive. It's a 3.5 hour drive, bus ride home, just miserable. And get home, and these two, it's like 2 a.m. We're sitting in the coach's office waiting for the kids to leave, and these two yahoos start playing around, start poking, and then the other one's poking, and then the next thing you know, they're over wrestling around, kind of fighting, and then it was on me. That was a confrontation between me and them. Probably another, and this is a testament to the relationship I have with him. There's been a couple of times me and Travis Bryant have been nose to nose at halftime. Okay. In the locker room over, what we should do or what we didn't do, and it gets pretty intense. And Travis is more than just a friend at this point. The things we've been through, guys like that, Miko, a lot of these coaches that we coach with, it's more than just a friendship. They're almost, I see them almost as family. So you kind of argue with them like they're family, and then you just drop it and go on. I have a great appreciation for Travis Bryant, what he's helped us do here. But yeah, we've had some intense moments at halftime. Well, I've had some players that we've had some moments with confrontation. I've had, how about I just say situations and not names?
Right.
We've had, this is one a lot of people may not remember this, but there was one year we had a player right in the middle of the game. He just decided he had had enough. He was a starter. I really still to this day don't know what he was upset about. He took his shoulder pads off and he just chunked them out on the field right in the middle of the game. Like the game was going on. Luckily, the game was going on kind of down on the north end. These pads go all the way out to like the hash mark. And I see the pads fly out, and then so I just walk over and pick them up and carry them back. And so, yeah, later, he came back. That kid ended up coming back, and we had a moment at practice one day. And he ended up finishing his career the next year. He was done that year, but he let him come back and he did a good job for us.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
we've had some moments, but probably the biggest one was with Pat Cushing in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only time I felt like we were kind of laying down, not just kind of giving up. At halftime, I gave them all. I felt like I could not get fired, and then here comes Travis. Travis comes in, and I thought if I was the Lightning, he was the Thunder. I'm looking around, and it was embarrassing that on the field performance. And he gave a speech that any grown man would like his son to hear in the moment. But in the moment, I was also like, man, I hope nobody's recording this on their phone. But yeah, we've had some over the years.
Well, so you said something about family with Colin and Austin and Coach Bryant and your relationship. And I know you had a relationship with a lot of your coaches like that over the years. That's really close. But one of the coaches that probably shaped you most was your own dad. And tell us how he influenced you personally, but also professionally, as he is a storied coach here in Oklahoma as well.
Well, he influenced me in every sense of the word that you can influence a son. I mean, he was a great Christian leader in our home. He taught me how to work. He taught me work ethic. He taught me how to treat a wife, how to treat your kids, all the things that are most important. And then, then ultimately, I paid enough attention to pick up things on the game of football and kind of how to run a football program. And I feel like he could, I would just remember him coming in. When he come into a community, there was already a sense of energy that just some people have. And he had that energy about him when he came in a room or he came into a football program. It was going to be elevated, and the standard was going to be elevated. I try not to do this, but I often compare myself to the standard that he set as a man, and it's near impossible for me to live up to that. I mean, he was just he was a great man in every sense of the word. I'm very proud to be his son. Hopefully, I know he got to watch us win the championship in 11 and 14, and he was very proud. So I'm sure he'd greatly enjoy watching now Austin out there with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Colin being at OU, he'd love all that.
For sure.
Yeah.
So last question. Well, maybe second last question. Last question. Your family, most of your family, and maybe Sherry is involved as well, have had very successful careers in the tennis world. So, if there was a tennis match, who's going to come out on top? You, Kendra, who just became state runner-up in doubles last year, Austin and Colin. Austin actually the first and ever tennis player from Wagoner to make the podium, to get on the state championship podium. And I don't know, Sherry may have her hand in tennis as well. But who's going to win a match there?
Well, there's 5 of us, so let's immediately go to 5th place is Sherry.
Okay,
so we can eliminate that conversation. I hope she's not. But she does try hard. She's good at ping pong.
Okay.
Is this me in my heyday? Like right now, I can't beat any of them.
Right. No, we're talking everybody in their prime.
In my prime as an athlete, it's going to hurt some feelings, but I would have beat Colin.
Okay.
I didn't play enough tennis that I could have beat Austin at his best, but athletically. I won't tell him that I was a better athlete. But I would say, man, Austin's run when he got third was it was awesome. I mean, it took a lot. But last year, what Kinder and Callie did was pretty special. I think Kinder's probably I'm going to say Kinder's the best tennis player of the three.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna rank her 1, Austin 2, and Colin 3.
Okay.
I'm 4th, and then Sherry somewhere out there supporting everybody 5th. I'm sorry, Sherry.
So one last thing, let's talk football tonight. Red Tornadoes, Clinton. Been telling our fans watching that they're probably already on their way.
Yeah.
Probably be rolling up here next hour or so, I would think, next 2 hours. But I think Kale Humphreys had mentioned that they've got a story themselves, a history of state championships and success through their football program, and and actually even being 4 hours away, whatever it is, out west, we have a pretty good history with them over the years.
Yeah. I think we've played 4 times.
Okay.
At least we have since I've been here. They beat us in the championship in 05, and then we beat them in 11 in the championship. And then 15, we had a great playoff game with them here that we won. And then, of course, 2020, we beat them. So we played 3 times for the state title. But, when I first got here, one of the programs I was most in awe of was Clinton. I mean, they just always found a way to be in the mix and state championship conversation. And it's hard to do at 4A when your population's lower and there's more chance that you can go some years where you don't have quite as many players. So, Coach Lee, Mike Lee, legendary coach from there, he's still there. I think he's retired. He's kind of in charge of football operations. He still kind of hangs around and helps out guide things. But he was a guy I would call. I called him a couple of times just to kind of pick his brain about how he ran his program and things like that. So it's a place that I think they play a great style of football, very tough-minded, gritty kids. You can always see that in the way they play. They're tough, man. Flint kids are tough. They're gonna come to fight. So, I noticed too on the roster they have a couple of their coaches with the last name Lee. So I'm assuming
Right.
they're probably related. I'm gonna find out tonight. They're doing a lot of some of the similar things offensively that he did.
Okay.
A lot of things that I at my core started doing when I some high with a lot of toss sweep to a big strong tailback. And so they have a lot of state titles. I don't know how many. It's more than us, and that's not many people can say that.
Right.
Great program, tough kids, and we'll get their best effort tonight, no doubt.
So Emily Bowen's got a question. I know the answer to it already, but she wanted to know, other than the Bulldogs, who's your favorite team
in high school football?
No, I think just in total.
Well, no doubt. Other than the Wagoner Bulldogs, would be the Oklahoma Sooners, and then I'm having a rough year. You are.
Go ahead, say it.
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. It's Martin out there, Dallas Cowboys. But those are my 3 teams. I'm kind of thinking about. I looked up on a map. Here's how bad Dallas is. I looked it up on a map. I was hoping Arrowhead Stadium is closer to Wagner than AT&T, and it is.
Okay.
So I feel like that because I picked my team based on. At the time, I lived in Ringling as a little kid. Tony Dorsett had a uniform, so I attached to Dallas. Well, it may be time. Mahomes has probably got another 10 years left. It'd be a fun ride. I could drive quicker to games. I guess the question is, can you quit a team as a 52-year-old? Can you quit a team? But it's rough. It's rough being a Dallas Cowboys fan. You got to listen to Stephen A. Smith every week.
Oh yeah.
OU, I feel like this has been a rough year. But OU will be back. They're just too very good program.
Yeah,
I'll be back. Yeah.
Well, there's one last thing, Coach. I know we didn't talk a whole lot of necessarily football, but we talked about the storied rivalry that's becoming a story for sure of Wagner versus Clinton and the history that they've had. And, it's going to be a really, really tough game. But I have to say, we're going to have to go with the Wagoner Bulldogs. Go Bulldogs. Here we go. Out and with Buster How about a 35-14? That's what I'm going for. 35-14, write it down. Maybe 28-14 going into fourth quarter. I think we'll plug one in right there at the end.
We'll take it.
And we're going 35-14, Wagoner Bulldogs over the Clinton Tornadoes. I want to thank Coach Del Condit for coming to our first ever podcast of Friday Morning Bulldogs. And Coach, anything you want to say to the fans out
Well,
there?
hey, it's going to be a great night weather-wise, great football. You know, we've got comfortable seating. Come out and watch a great playoff game tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And I guess that'll be a great ending to the Friday Morning Bulldogs. The bell rings. We're moving on to fourth hour or lunch. And we appreciate everyone that's logged on to watch our first ever podcast of Friday Morning Bulldogs. Don't forget, kickoff at 7 o'clock. Hopefully you'll be there in person, but if you can't, you log on to WPS live streams and you'll catch the game live. And it's going to be Leland Alexander, Nick Humphreys, and myself, and Garrett Haddock. And we'll bring you Friday Night Bulldogs starting pregame at 6:45. So that's going to do it for us. Everybody have a great day, a great weekend, and a great Thanksgiving. And be sure to not take anything for granted in our Thanksgiving season. I'm Jeremy Holmes saying good afternoon, and God bless America.